Hey friends, I'm Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Sunday, Surgery Sunday. What do you think of that? What do you think of that for thinking on my feet? We're going to be tearing apart a Happy Model EX802 today. These are the lightweight, not single piece bell, but rounded bell 802s made by Happy Model. Happy Model calls them the EX802s. Tiny Whoop calls them the Hex, H-E-X 802s. We're going to pull this apart. We're going to pull the bell off of this, and then we're going to compare this stator to the Tiny Whoop onesie, the full-size, slightly heavier 802 stator. Hopefully they're identical. Because what that means, if they're identical, is that I can basically make my own ultimate motor for the 75mm Walksnail freestyle builds. On Whoop Wednesday this week, I tested the 802 30,000 kV motors that I made in the same method, pulling bells off of one motor, putting them onto another stator to get a higher kV. We compared this 802 30,000 kV build to this, pretty much identical. There is a difference in that this guy, the heat shield on the Walksnail VTX has been removed. So this guy is 1 gram, 1 point something grams lighter. Once these things have, I've been running these, and in the testing, I ran them on the heavy batteries, the 450 mAh batteries, so that 1 gram difference was as slight as possible, right? Like we 1 gram doesn't mean anything. The percentage is what matters. So these guys were at 42.5 and 44 grams, right? So at that point, a 1 point something gram difference is only like a 2% change in total weight, in all up weight, I should say. And that's that's not nothing, but it's not that big of a deal. I don't think the 1 gram weight difference is why this 802 30,000 kV build is just flies so much better. We're gonna retest these today as a part of our 6 batteries a day. Yeah, I mean the main thing that I've learned with the testing from Wednesday is that 33,000 kV is not too much, and as long as it's not too much, I want it. So pretty much no matter what, not no matter what, as long as the stators are the same, I'm gonna be doing the same thing on this that I did here, which is to pull these bells off, leave the stators. They're 0802 33,000 kV stators, and then I'm gonna take apart a set of the IGOW motors with the stronger 1.5 millimeter motor shafts and put them onto these stators, and I'm gonna have a strong 802 33,000 kV motor. And at that point, the 75 millimeter freestyle Walksnail build is done. Because basically at that point there is no higher power motor available. Like this is it. 802 stator size, 33,000 kV. The only thing that can touch it, I mean, 702 36,000 kV maybe makes more power, but 702 is not a big enough motor for 1.6 inch propellers. 702 is a motor size that really is a perfect match for 65 millimeter builds. For the bigger, more draggy, heavier propellers, you need a bigger stator so that the motor stays cool. And it certainly looks like 802 is like the magical motor size for 1.6 inch bi-blade propellers. I did a bunch of testing with 603s, which is a stator size that's in between 702 and 802. And the 603s were really good, admittedly, but they seemed like they were getting hot. Like when, for the first time ever, I was able to bring a tiny whoop in, touch the motors, and the motors were warm, like properly warm. And what that means potentially is in the air, they're getting too hot. And when motors get too hot, it's bad. The magnets hate it. You lose consistency, you lose power, you lose efficiency. And the 802 EXs, although this isn't going to be an 802 EX, but 802s are not that much heavier than 603s. So I think we've kind of settled on, and this makes an awful lot of sense, right? Like 702, perfect motor for really light 65 millimeter propellers, either the bi-blades or the HK YOLO tri-blades. And then for 75 millimeter rigs, and then so if you want to go to like a heavier pitch tri-blade, you've got to go up to either a 603 or an 802 on 65 millimeter rigs. Kind of stands to reason that on 75 millimeter rigs, we're kind of doing the same thing. 802 seems like the best bet for really lightweight propellers, like these Gemfan bi-blades that are just brilliant. And then if you want to run like big beefy tri-blades or 45 millimeter props, you're going to go up to a 1002. At some point, like once we have this thing totally dialed in, we've got the durable bells on it, and it's good to go. We are going to test it against the Meteor 75 Pro frame with the 45 millimeter props, 1002, 23,500 kV motors. Because these are the other motors that make really good power. So it's really starting to feel like 802 33,000s are the best bet for the 1.6 inch bi-blades. And then if you want to go bigger, it feels like you step up to the Pro. Mainly because, like, these, it's a KV problem. We don't have enough motors that are a high enough KV. Like, these 802 33,000s are amazing because they're 33,000 kV. That's kind of it. To go bigger than 802, we go up to 1002, and 23,500 is the max that we've got. So, yeah. These here are going to represent the way that we get the most possible power out of a 75. And if you're going to fly a 75, you might as well get as much power as possible out of it, because it's an outside rig, and that's, you know, with tiny whoops, putting motors, battery leads, propellers on that make more power, that fixes more of the deficiencies in flight performance on a tiny whoop than anything else you can do. More so than PID tuning, filter tuning, magic fairy dust. It doesn't matter. Like, putting a powertrain onto a tiny whoop or reducing the all-up weight, that is how you improve the performance more than anything and everything, like, sort of combined. It's incredible. So it makes a lot of sense to find these combinations that make the most power possible, because if you end up making too much power, you can just motor limit it down. And then if you're flying in a bigger location, you have the ability to crank it back up. So, yeah, I'm really glad that we've finally gotten here. Good God, has it taken a long time to get to this point. But we're here, and I'm happy. We're also going to be attempting to repair a slipped motor shaft on an IGOW motor. I picked up some Loctite 638 finally. As it says here, this is retaining compound. If there's any chemical that Loctite sells that's going to prevent this bell from slipping on this shaft in the future, this is the stuff. So we're going to mess around with this, see if we can fix this. I kind of need to fix this because I need this bell. So, yeah, feet to the fire we go. I've got 4 of the Weebleed 450 foldeds charged. I've got 2 of the GNB Emax 300s charged. And then I've got 2 of the Tattoo BT 2.0 300s charged as well. So yeah, we'll fly the 30,000 kV 75 Walksnail rig. We'll fly the 33,000 kV so that we can just revisit it from Wednesday and make absolutely sure that the 33,000s are really the way to go. And then, so we'll do 6 batteries on those, and then we'll do the other 2 batteries on a 65 millimeter rig, just so that, well, should I do them on a Walksnail 65 rig? That might be fun. But the only Walksnail 65 rig I have together is the drift car chasing rig that you were seeing in the intro. And I try to not fly this thing freestyle because I don't want to bend up the motors. You know, this is meant to be as cinematic as possible, so smashing it around makes no sense because you're just gonna hurt the motors or the props or whatever. Would be a good excuse to change the props out. They're looking a little worse for the wear. That would be the fairest test. No, I don't want to bang this thing up. I've been really good about not smashing this thing, so let's just stay with that. I will fly the. We'll do all biblades today. I'll do the 36,000 kV 702 analog Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop for those last 2 batteries. We're gonna do mailbag today. I've got a bunch of really cool stuff to open up and show off. I think that's it, right? 6 batteries, mailbag. Oh, Q&A, of course. This is a Q&A live stream, as they all are. Fill the chat up with any questions that you've got, and we'll talk about them in detail and take advantage of the old long-form content. Long-form medium is the word I was looking for that we've got here. What is this? This is a Happy Model Cross AIO. Anybody want a Happy Model Cross AIO? It's got a BT 2.0 lead already soldered up to it. Message me if you want it. It's all yours. This is betafpv hardware. I do have some other stuff for sale. Set of 1202s, a bunch of PH 2.0 batteries, and some tiny whoop motors. Zing 0803s, betafpv 1103, and betafpv 0803 12,000s. Let me know if you need anything. Pretty much, I sell most of this stuff for like the cost of shipping. I just want it to get used. Kevin Sumner just called the Cross AIO. Cool. Alright. We did figure out the mystery of who asked for the Hey Kevin, what's going on with the camera testing? Look at that. Is that not? Are you not amused? Hold on. Right down on here, Kevin Sumner. Kevin, let me know if there's anything else you need, man. As always, when you message me to remind me about that. Actually, now that I have your name on it, I can put it down on the floor. Okay. This is my full-time job. If you like what you see and want to see it continue, head on over to CiottiFPV.com. Kevin Sumner dropped the link in chat. And a whole bunch of different ways you can support me. Patreon helps the most. You can join the Patreon. Can you stomach... Here's the question. Can you stomach $36 a year? If you can spread $36 out over the next entire year, you can jump onto my Patreon. Or, if you want to get in on a bunch of giveaways... it would be, to start getting in on giveaways, it would be like, I should have done the math, $60 a year. If you can afford $60 a year for a gangly bastard, you can get in on 12 giveaways this year. Head on over to the website, join Patreon. You're going to love it. You're also going to get access to a YouTube playlist with all kinds of flying and Discord, Patreon-only live streams. Sketchy flying, I don't want to be public. The best dive you'll ever see. There's a bunch of tech articles on the Patreon page. There's 2 different Facebook groups. And there's something else I'm forgetting. Gotta forget something. Bunch of affiliate links over there on the website. There's a Fiverr page where you can book time with me to work one-on-one and just get, access to all the knowledge. Flight instruction, help you fly better, help you build better, help you tune better, whatever you want to do. And there's a Teespring store as well with fun shirts like this one. If you're a car fan, you'll dig this. How could you not want to support behavior like that? Kevin Sumner was first in chat. He said, hey, folks. Hold on. I still have it on top chat. That's not right. Hockey Rounds was next. Frank Nicholas, Apache Swoku, Disciper, Cole Powers, Joe F., Troy Prelog, Four Little Pigs, Scott FPV. Four Little Pigs. Four Little Pigs. I haven't seen you in a while, man. How you been? Your fucking screen name. Every single time I read your screen name. It's like the beauty of, of the internet. Screen names really are like the beauty of the internet. The creativity mixed with a fair helping of insanity are really it's magic. It's true magic. The Budweiser commercial where they sing "Real Man of Genius" constantly plays in my head with the screen name situation. Oh boy, it's nice to know that there's people far crazier than I am. Scott FPV, Matt Norton, Simo23, Simon, Denzel the Terrible, CH3FPV, Hendrix Freakazoid, Slokal FPV, Jamie Lee, Walter Van, Van Den Ord. Denzel the Terrible. Stone FPV. CH3FPV again. Kevin Sumner, Northern Tier. Ohm FPV. Matt Norton. Adam Weston, V Pro. Northern Tier again. Max Melner. Jamie Lee again. Simo, Adam Weston, Rock Crawler, Jamie Lee, Sergio Neves, and Walter again. What's up, friends? Thanks for coming. Let's go. Hey, no, if you want to talk directly to me in the chat, you got to type CiottiFPV. Tag me, at me, whatever you want to call it, and I will read your comment. Kevin Sumner says, sure. Did Denzel not reply? Joe F says, hello, CiottiFPV and everyone. Matt Norton says, I'm still interested in the semi-clear frame and batteries. Matt, as long as you messaged me somewhere, anywhere, you'll be good to go. I got caught up a couple of days ago, and now I'm back behind again. So, yeah, as long as you shot me a message, it's all yours, brother. CH3 says, what's up? Gangly gang. Slokal says, please keep the Teddy appearances going. My 2-year-old now watches the entire stream with me, hoping to see Teddy. Teddy Spaghetti, get your little fuzzy ass down here. Teddy! Come here. Deal. Slokal, if you remind me on every stream, I will have him on every stream. How about that? Denzel the Temple says, hi, Teddy. I mean, CiottiFPV. Yeah, that's who I came to see. Was Wednesday's stream the first time that we had him in HD? I think it might have been, right? Freelojo dropping the Patreon link. Thank you, dude. V-Pro says, rebuilt my Mobula 6 with Meteor 65 frame. Which one? The old school one or the new fragile airframe? And 28,000 kV Happy Model Motors. 28,000 kV. Where'd you... 28,000. I don't. Who makes a 28,000 kV motor? I'll be damned. Happy Model does. How did I not know this? I knew they made 26,000. The new 2024 Mobula 6 has 27,000. Apparently, they also have 28,000. Very cool. 28,000 Happy Model Motors. It feels awesome, even for a beginner like me. Also started watching Community. Nice. Community is the best show ever. Dude, awesome. Yeah, that's perfect for anyone like in their first year or two of flying, especially in their first year or two of tiny whoop flying. 0702 28,000 kV is perfect. You could even go down to like 26,000 kV and you'd be fine. It's just so goddamn hard to fly tiny whoops inside. And reducing the amount of power, reducing the amount of kV helps significantly with that. So yeah, that's awesome, V-Pro. That will... you can put like your first 500 tiny whoop batteries into that setup and not get bored of it. If you do get bored of it, just remind yourself that there is more that you can do. And yeah, that's a great setup right there. That's a great setup. Northern Tier says, who ships the Etsy stuff? Need some long 75mm screws. I do. The Etsy stuff all comes directly from me. But don't do an order on Etsy, Northern Tier. Message me somewhere. Tell me what your combination of parts is going to be. Tell me what the whole build is going to be, and then I'll get you the right screws. If there's anything else on Etsy that you want, drop it in your message. Just don't check out through Etsy. It'll just be annoying for me. Just shoot me a message somewhere. Tell me everything that you want, and I'll tell you what to PayPal me, and then you can just jump on CiottiFPV, click the PayPal button, bingo, bango, bongo, we're good to go. Kevin Sumner's sister, we got that. Camera testing is coming slowly. I've been sick for over a month. What? Why? Don't be sick. Is it the corona? Did you drink too much terrible Mexican beer? Is that what's happening? Also need a day that's not dreary as hell to get the outside shots I need. Oh, you're doing like a proper edit, it sounds like. Look at this fucking guy. I'm not willing to do that. That's awesome, dude. Great. I absolutely love that. I more mentioned it just so that I don't remember. I don't care how long it takes you, man. This is not me rushing you. This is just me reminding myself to not forget. Because we do have this going. But the secret thing behind this, and the reason that I'm not pushing this very much, why is it so at the corner? What's happening? It's a little too... There we go. That's better. No, it's still too far over. There we go. That's better. Yeah, the reason I haven't mentioned this much is that Kevin Sumner had like the same exact idea, but like a week earlier, and he bought a shitload of the cameras, and he's not going to need all those cameras, so he's going to do all of his testing, and then I told him that I'm going to buy all those cameras off of him with this. So this can slowly go. Take your time, Kevin, and yeah, then we'll do a live stream where we test as many of these cameras as possible, and then we'll have an edited thing, it sounds like, from Kevin that's easy to watch, and then we'll have an impossible to watch live stream with me, but with shots of Teddy Spaghetti and cursing and screaming and peeing your pants. So, yeah, that'll be cool. Rockcrawler says, hey, yeah. Jamie Lee says, my Mobula 6 pulls to the right really bad. Best way to explain is like the tracking out is out on a car. I've done motor tests in Betaflight. All the numbers match fine. With any problems, the most important first troubleshooting step is to figure out when it started. So that has to be my first question. When did that behavior start? If it's been doing that since it was brand new out of the box, return that shit. Don't have Stockholm syndrome because you feel like you break everything. Sometimes stuff just shows up broken. So if you're still within the return window, I would send that thing back because, well, I mean, the next troubleshooting step is this a yaw problem or is this a roll problem? But regardless, okay, so if it's pulling to the right, the other place that my brain goes is that your trims are wrong or there's some kind of problem with your transmitter. The easiest way to solve that is to fly any other rig. If you fly any other rig and it doesn't exhibit that same behavior, then yeah. Basically what is more than likely happening is the gyro is bad. And that's why I say, like, send that shit back, because you can't fix that. You can't tune that out. There's nothing you can do. But, like, regardless, yeah, like, if you get a newish product and you build it and it ain't right, and you've built a bunch of rigs before, don't blame yourself. Just blame the garbage that we buy from China. So yeah, I have a feeling your gyro is bad, but I give you a couple of things to try first. Sergio says, is there a way I can get your PIDs? I'm about to build a 65mm whoop. Not really, Sergio. And the main reason is that I don't really have PIDs. I have a whole bunch of different rigs, and they all have a custom PID tune on them. So, and that's the way that it should be. First and foremost, Betaflight 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, 4.5 on dead stock PIDs, it's amazing. And you really shouldn't need, unless you're a professional pilot, unless you're going to start a YouTube live stream or channel with edited content where you need it to look as good as possible to try to attract more people, there's really no reason to go up from stock PIDs. There are actually some problems with increasing the PIDs. Namely, it's going to cover up your mistakes. Most people that I speak with are trying to get better. And one of the things about trying to get better is you need to know when you've screwed up. And a more aggressive than stock PID tune will cover up a lot of the mistakes that you make, and you won't know that you're making that mistake and then you won't be able to fix it because you don't know that you're doing it. So if you're trying to get better and you're not a professional pilot that's selling your footage, you don't have a YouTube channel where you want to look as professional as possible, if the focus is on getting good, leave the PIDs completely stock and fly them as they are. They're going to cover up a bunch of your mistakes anyway. But you're still, if you put the rig like hard into dirty air, hard into prop wash, you're going to get a little bit of feedback. It's going to tell you like, hey, you fucked up. You put me into dirty air. And that's important to know. You want to know that. You want to know how to not do that. That's one of the parts about getting good. So, yeah. PIDs are very specific to each individual build that you do. The other thing that's really nice in 2024 is that adjusting your PIDs, making your PIDs more aggressive, is absurdly easy. There are like a half a dozen sliders in Betaflight. The top 2 sliders are really the only ones that matter. And essentially, if you're at a point where the quality of your flight footage is more important than just improving as a pilot, all you really need to do is grab the top, fly the rig, make sure everything is cool, take the top slider, the D-gain slider, move it over from 1.0 to 1.2. Fly the rig, make sure everything's cool, land it. Take that slider and go over to 1.4, and then take the second slider down and bump that from 1.0 to 1.2. Fly it, make sure everything is cool. Land it, top slider over by 0.2, second slider over by 0.2. Fly it, make sure everything is cool. Land it, 0.2 more, 0.2 more. At some point, you're going to push these up so high that the rig tells you that it's unhappy. It's going to change. It's going to start flying worse. It's going to try to fly away when you arm it. It's going to sound funny. At that point, you need to back those sliders off. That is a tune that is about 98% perfect. That simple, stupid, silly little exercise that'll take you like 5 minutes will do so much of the work in tuning. D-gain does damn near everything in terms of improving flight characteristics, eating prop wash, eating any throttles, and a bunch of other stuff that kind of happens. It also makes the rig sort of a little softer and a little bit more in control, and your footage is going to literally look better with a bunch of D-gain. So, yeah, that's the bulk of tuning in 2024. Super, super, super easy. I talk about going deeper into tuning every so often on these live streams. You can search my channel. Just go to my channel here, and there's a little magnifying glass. Click that and search for the word tune or tuning, and you'll find loads of timestamps of me diving a little bit deeper into tuning and explaining what the rest of the sliders do. But yeah, those first 2 sliders are pretty much everything. I don't do anything, I don't need to do anything crazy with my tune. I push a couple of sliders up from 1.0 to 1.1. I pull a couple of sliders down a little bit. And that's pretty much it. Those things that I do are so subtle that unless you've got 1,000+ batteries in, you're not going to notice it. So it's kind of pointless for me to even really talk about it, but I do talk about it every so often. So yeah, man, that is tuning. Like, it's actually way more important to have a custom tune on each individual rig than it is. Let me put it this way. If you're not willing to custom tune each individual rig, don't bother tuning. Running someone else's tune or running a preset is going to typically cause more problems than it fixes if you're just going to throw it on a random rig. If you've managed to build the exact same rig, top to bottom, as the person whose tune that is, then maybe the tune will do more good than harm. But there is an aspect of tuning that is pilot specific. I like my tunes to be very, very stick smoothed. And there's a bunch of latency that comes with that. So a lot of people that fly my tunes hate them because of the extra latency. But then when you look at your flight footage after the fact, it looks awesome because of that smoothing that I've added in, because of that latency that's there. So there is a lot of tuning that is pilot specific. I like the way that looks. UAV Tech, for example, Mark Spatz, he tunes the complete opposite. He tunes for stick response and stick tracking. So his tunes have pretty much no smoothing, but they track the sticks perfectly, which is great for racing or great for basically looking at black box logs. When you look at black box logs and the tune is dialed in for stick tracking and response, it follows like damn near perfect in Betaflight. My tunes do not. My tunes, like if the sticks go from the center all the way up to the corner and then all the way back down to the center, the way Mark tunes is that the gyro will perfectly follow that. The way that I tune is that the initiation point is identical, right? Because even if you don't use feed forward, even if you have tons of D-gain, even if you have a whole bunch of RC smoothing added in there, when you start to move the stick, it's going to fire the motors up at the exact same time. So your initial reaction is going to be there regardless of stick smoothing, regardless of the latency that you've added in via stick smoothing. That's why I can get away with it. That like, so, you know, somebody walks out in front of me and I make a quick correction. Whatever. Yeah, somebody walks out in front of me. The initial hit of input that I put in, it is going to be there. But then what you'll see on the black box logs is Mark's trace will go up and perfectly trace the sticks because we kind of robotically slam the stick over into plastic. So his will go kind of robotically up. Mine will gradually accelerate up, and then when it gets to the top, it'll actually it'll actually soften the line over. So when you watch the footage, instead of it's got like an acceleration to it and a softness to it and then a slowdown. And that just looks way more cinematic to me. That looks way more like on purpose, basically. And it's just, yeah, it's just better flight footage in the end, but at the cost of latency. If I was good enough, I would just do that with my fingers, but I'm not. And so I'm going to use the stuff that's available to me to make my flight footage look as good as possible rather than bashing my head into the wall, 7+ years in at this point. Right? So, yeah. Long answer for a pretty simple question, but it's a really important conversation that I love having that nobody else really talks about, to be honest. A bit of news that I would forget if I didn't mention right now. It would appear that Drone Camps RC has picked a fight with the one person that you really don't want to pick a fight with in FPV. Botgrinder put out a video, and in like a little like half a second clip of the video, he used a bunch of Drone Camps RC thumbnails when he was explaining that some YouTubers call every single rig that comes out the best rig ever. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I noticed it. Like, I know when I was watching that video, I noticed that he used Drone Camps' thumbnails. And it made me laugh. But then I didn't really think too much of it, and it was so quick, and like he didn't mention anybody by name. It was so quick that I didn't really think much of it. I just kind of giggled, and that was sort of the end of it. But apparently, Justin, who runs Drone Camps, it would appear that he has sent a strongly worded legal-ish letter. There are some. I think it might. I think he might have just done like. I think that form might be available on the internet somewhere, and you can just kind of customize it, because there's some stuff in there. It looks like a form that has come from a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure it hasn't actually come from a lawyer because it says the state of Philadelphia in it, and that's the kind of thing that an actual lawyer would not screw up. So I'm assuming that it's just like an online form or whatever that he customized. And you know, I don't know, something like that where bot didn't like specifically name him. I don't think a lawyer would really take that on. I don't think there's grounds for anything that's actually written in there. So it feels just like kind of a scare tactic type of thing, like take this video down where you're making fun of me sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. And bot did not take too kindly to this and has been posting some shit on Instagram. So yeah, if you want to get caught up on it, hit bot's Instagram, and there's a bunch of stories that I don't know, man. Look, I don't like when people do that. I really don't. I really don't like when every single new product that comes out is the best product ever. It's always bothered me, because they're not. Most products that come out are no better than the one right before them, and in some cases they're worse. So when like every single thumbnail, every single video is, you know, so and so new product is the best product ever, that's tough. That's really tough. I don't love that. At the same time, I also don't love picking on people, right? But I don't think that's what DJ was doing. Look, it's... I hate being mean. I really hate being mean. But look, most of the FPV community... Most of the FPV community knows what's going on here. And I'm just going to say that I think that most of the FPV community is going to side with bot. And I'm going to leave it at that. Look, I got picked on bad as a kid, and it fucked me up forever. And so picking on people is just not, it's just not necessary. It's not cool. But I don't think that's, I don't really think that that's what bot was doing per se. I think that the FPV community knows that this is a thing, and we know to sort of ignore the fact that Justin's thumbnails are going to say this is the best thing ever. And yeah, like I thought that he kind of owned it at this point. I thought that it was just like a running joke. I was really surprised to see the legal-ish letter thing that Justin sent to DJ. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was like a part of his shtick or whatever. His channel has a ton of subscribers. He gets tons of views. He gets tons of quads sent to him for free. Like, that's a pretty good gig. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a part of the whole thing. So yeah, and I thought that by bot putting that in there, it was like a not. I almost felt like it would kind of benefit drone camps in a weird way, right? All what's the saying? All press is good press, right? So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird situation. I don't know. I'll leave it there. You do your own research, and actually, let me see. Let's see here. I'm gonna start a poll, and the poll is gonna be who's in the right, bot or camps. I'm actually, that's a weird way to word it, but you guys know exactly what I'm asking. There's no right and wrong here. It's just a situation. But I'm very curious where you guys stand on it. So yeah. Thus far it's 100% bot. All right, good. Well, it went 97%, but then it went back up to 100%. Just weird. I'm 98%, 2%. Jesus. 42 votes. Oh my god. Okay. All right. Who's the one person? Who's the one person? Does the one person have big enough balls to tag me and say it's me? I don't think Bot's in the right. I totally respect the one person. I totally do. 100%. Look, there's just no reason to rag on people. Yes, it's fun. Yes, it's controversial. But like, come on, there's no reason to trash on people. I've been guilty of doing it myself, and I've probably said mean shit about drone camps at some point, early days. But there was a point where I caught myself, and I was just like, yo, that's not cool. Like, I wouldn't want somebody talking shit about me, and people do talk shit about me, and I don't take it well, and I don't deal well with it, and I don't fucking like it. So like, I really, really, really try hard to not do it to anybody else that doesn't really deserve it, right? Like, the Nazis deserve it. Like I will talk bad about Nazis and punch a Nazi all day. You know, they are destroying the way of life for large groups of people for no reason, and or for very selfish reasons, right? So that's a thing. But yeah, if you're not a literal Nazi, then you just, for the most you don't deserve it, right? There we go. Look, 4% drone camps. There we go. Down to 3%. Somebody changed their mind. But yeah, I don't know. It's an easy thing to do too. This, like, I'll bet you DJ didn't even think about it. I bet you he just did it. It was just like, whatever. Like, everybody kind of knows this thing. I'll just throw it in there. I'm almost certain that it was not like a malicious thing where, like, in the edit he was like, oh, I can stick it to drone camp. Like, he doesn't care about drone camps. He just did it because it's a thing that we sort of all just know, right? I'll bet that's what happened. So yeah, it was not like a malicious attempt to take another content creator down. I can almost guarantee you. But yeah, look, it's just, you know, I was sure that I was going to forget to mention that. So I wanted to just get it in there because, yeah, I don't know. It also, like, it's not a good look for, in my opinion, for drone camps to do that. Because I don't know, is it worse that it appears to just be an online form that he filled out, or is that actually better? Like, would it be worse if he actually spent $1,000 on a lawyer to draft something up? I think maybe, right? Like, if he was seriously looking to go after DJ, I think that would actually be worse. I think it's actually better that it appears to just be an online forum / scare tactic kind of thing. I don't know. Let's stop talking about this. I'm going to end the poll. There's 64 volts, 97%. Yikes. 97% bot, 3% camps. I don't know. Drewman FPV says, I could really do with a highlights reel of the last few streams of thought. I wish that I had the time to do that, man. I've tried it before. It takes so much time, and then it doesn't get viewed nearly as much as the actual streams do. And there's also the chance that some stuff is going to get lost in translation. So I typically don't do that. Joshua is able to do it because he doesn't have to do it. He's got either an editor or Blunty working on it. Yeah, I just don't have the manpower or the look. If I'm gonna edit something, it's gonna be like flight footage and like a proper edit. because that's a more valuable chunk of content for me to kind of put out into the world rather than re-putting out the same content. And I have loads of amazing flight footage that people beg me to see. Not actually beg, but you know what I mean. So yeah, if I'm going to be doing editing, it's going to be proper flight footage, proper edits for you guys to kind of enjoy the art of FPV. Yeah. What I will say though is that Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper is phenomenal at doing timestamps. So within like 6 hours of any live stream going off the air here, there will be a comment with very detailed, incredible timestamps that you can just click through, and it'll take you directly to the spot in the video talking about, you know, whatever Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper has written there. So that is really the best way to kind of condense these streams if you don't have the full 2 hours to leave it on in the background while you're working or while you're fixing or whatever. Yeah, that's the best way, and it's pretty quick. You know, you read through, you can even do like a Control F or Command F and search for like 65mm, and it'll highlight all the 65mm instances that Apache Smoke has put in there, and then you just click through it. It takes you straight there. You get your full description and actual explanation of what's going on from me, rather than a chopped up thing that might have missed a little bit of context. And yeah, so that tends to be the way to get a lot of knowledge out of these streams very, very quickly. All that being said, most folks just use these live streams as an excuse to spend more time on the bench. Put this shit on in the background, or if you've got a job where you can listen while you work. Riot 9 also puts audio versions of these streams up on the Discord. So yeah, go into the general channel in Discord, and or just message Riot 9 and he can send you a link to I believe it's a Google Drive that he's got where he drops the audio versions of these, and then you can listen to them as podcasts when you run, when you whatever. So yeah, lots of ways to get this content in. Like I said, I wish I had somebody that was smart enough into FPV and was cheap enough to be able to watch through all these live streams and chop them all up. But to be honest, the timestamps are just as good. Like, you know, the little system that we've kind of worked out here over the last 3 years, it wastes the least amount of time possible in a weird way. And it yeah, just kind of works. So Simon says Teddy is famous in our household too. We reenacted him sniffing the whoop camera with my eldest stuffed dog. The mental image of you doing that is hysterical. Looked so much like him. How they love him, as do we all. Amazing. VPro says, old school meteor frame. I crash a lot into the tiled floor. That is a perfect reason to run the old school meteor frame. I still really like the old school meteor frames. And I still think you can make one hell of an argument for that being the best frame available still. So yeah, good call on that one, man. That is the perfect reason to choose that frame. Freelojo says, have you had the emergency gummies? I haven't. I didn't even know they made gummies. I always do the powder. I don't mind the powder. So Maggie thinks that the emergency powder tastes disgusting. I don't mind it at all. So yeah, I just do the powder all the time. Northern Tier says, "Will do. Thanks. Thank you." Max says, "Is the Acrobee brushed worth anything in 2024? $69 is crazy. Not sure if I've ever flown a brushed. Any benefits? No real benefits. Look, $70 is way too close to $100, and $100 is what you can get a Mobula 6 ELRS for. I flew a couple of my old brushed rigs not too long ago, and I was actually really shocked at how decent they flew. But for an extra $30, you can go from like something that flies decent to something that's outrageously good. And like, as much as I love newbie drone products and like it's super cool and like OG cool to fly brushed stuff, look, If you've got a whole bunch of brushless stuff and you're bored and you want to try something different, awesome. Brushed is a super cool way to like fly something that's different. It doesn't do anything better, but it's like driving a classic car, right? Like there's nothing better about it, but there's just a coolness to it. And it also makes you appreciate what we've got today, which is, that's kind of cool in and of itself. So yeah, if you're bored, it's a fun little adventure, but it doesn't do anything better. It does certain stuff significantly worse. You're going to spend a lot of time pulling hairs out of the motor shaft. There are some things about brushed rigs that, whoo boy, I do not miss at all. And you're going to uncover those things, but if nothing else, they're going to make you appreciate the brushed stuff. And that's a great exercise in life, right? Like it's any time in life that you can have that reality brought to you, it's like, okay, cool. It kind of resets you. So yeah, I think that's the best part about it right there, is resetting your expectations and making you appreciate what we've got. Kevin Sumner says sinus infection, then severe antibiotic side effects. Oh God. Then recurrence of the sinus infection, then severe stomach bug. Oh my God, dude, what the fuck? It's been a wild 6 weeks. Oh my God, man. Stomach bug, is that flu? Is there something flickering? Is this goddamn camera flickering again? Is that what I'm seeing? Somebody tag me and say, yes, the webcam is flickering. I think it's dying. I think this webcam is dying. I tried just smacking it really hard. That didn't seem to help. Bob Bruce says, do you think that the IGOW bills will fit on those 33,000 kV stators? I do. We're gonna prove or disprove that on this live stream. Peter Clark says, I set my throttle midpoint and expo today on my ultimate tiny whoop. It's like I've unlocked a cheat code for a tiny whoop. Yeah, man, it's wild, right? You're only the second, maybe the third person that said, oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. In the past, I've had loads of people say, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. There was one comment on the live stream that was like, yeah, I've tried Throttle Expo in the past and I don't like it. Linear throttle is better. And my reply was like, wow, you're one of, if not the very first person that's ever said that. I've turned so many people onto the Throttle Expo thing. They've all absolutely loved it. You know, to each their own. I love that you're able to make linear throttle work. I will say this. If you've tried Throttle Expo in the past and you didn't like it, try it again and go through my method in that video of making absolutely sure that you get the midpoint set properly, trying a ton of Throttle Expo, not much Throttle Expo, everything in between. Like, try that method that I detailed in that live stream. I betcha at the end of it, and where you're at as a pilot today with these absurdly high kV motors, I think you're gonna come around, and I think you'll actually like it. If you don't, whatever, it's on you. But like, yeah, everybody but like this one person. Everybody that's tried it the way that I do it on these high kV setups has liked it. People that have tried it in the past with God knows what method, or maybe they don't have, you know, like so Joshua and It's Blunty, I've been told, are famous for saying that Throttle Expo is bad and you want linear throttle. Neither one of them have flown a proper high kV tiny whoop. I can almost guarantee you, and I'm actually thinking of sending Joshua one of these Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoops. I can almost guarantee you that if they did the full method with a high kV Tiny Whoop, they would open their eyes. It would open their eyes to Throttle Expo and how good it can be on these setups. It's a pretty specific thing. Those two fly mainly 5-inch freestyle rigs. The development cycle of 5-inch freestyle rigs has been so deep over the years that the motor manufacturers have figured out, they haven't figured out, they've just refined their motors to the point where at low throttle there is really good the motors are very controllable at low throttle. Chris Rosser talks about this every so often. He hits on it on his recent 1404 video, which is really, really cool. And so, yeah, the reason why 5-inch rigs don't need it is because they've just been so goddamn developed. Tiny Whoops have not. For the first time ever, we've got these lightweight motors that that are approaching the limit of what's possible. That happened with 5-inch rigs like 5 years ago. Like the motors got to the point where they were getting too hot, and we're like, hey, we can't push the motors any farther in terms of stator size and kV with the currently available props. Let's look at the other stuff. Let's look at the thickness of the magnets, the air gap, all these other things that affect how motors perform. So yeah, that's kind of the full story of what's going on there. Love it when you guys are able to get and the other thing is that it's super hard to fly these tiny whoops inside the house, especially when they have 32,000, 36,000 kV motors on them. And the Throttle Expo is there to get that shit under control. The difference that I have seen with my own eyes with pilots that don't have the Throttle Expo and then turn it on, it's night and day. It goes from unflyable to totally flyable. And there's no like real arguing that. So yeah. Kevin Sumner says, no edit, but I want 3 screenshots from each camera at a minimum. Fuck yeah, dude. I love it. I love it. Shots from different conditions, outside and light, then inside in a couple lighting scenarios. I love it, man. Thank you for doing that. That is rad. Jamie Lee FPV says, now you've said that, I did swap the frame to a betafpv one. It's not my receiver because it's fine on my 75mm and 5-inch. I gotta be honest, I forget what we were talking about, Jamie. Mobula 6 pulls to the right really bad. Okay. This is important. Hold on, let me reread. I want to try to fix this for you. Where the hell was I in chat? Oh, come on. What? Come on. Where was I? What? How is this possible? How am I so lost in the chat right now? There it is. Now that you've said that, I did swap the frame to a betafpv one. It's not my receiver. Got it. Because it's fine on my 75mm and 5-inch. Okay. So it started happening when you swapped the frame. Maybe there's a C-clip rubbing on the frame. Do this. Take two motors that rotate in different directions and swap them and see if it starts going to the other direction. All right, that's what you want to do. Don't swap cross motors because they spin the same direction. Swap motors that are next to each other. Motors 1 and 2, motors 2 and 4, motors 4 and 3, motors 3 and 1. Swap those and now see if it all of a sudden starts doing it in the opposite direction. That will be an important step in this troubleshoot for you. CMYK says, what's up, Gangly Gang? CiottiFPV. He also says, the master multiplier tune works awesome for me on 65mm, but my 75mm was maxed out and flew the same. Not sure what that means. I can tell you what that means, CMYK. It has to do with everything that we're talking about recently, where we haven't found a motor and prop combo on these 75mm rigs that is optimal. If you take, so when CMYK references the master multiplier tune, this is an even easier method of PID tuning, which is that you ignore all of the sliders, and then the last slider, which is called master multiplier, you just move that thing up and down. You move it up until the point where the quad starts to act up, and then you move it back a little bit. And that master multiplier pushes all the PIDs up. So that's an even easier method of tuning that works really well. That'll get your tune like 85% there. Using the top 2 sliders will get you like 95% of the way there. Yeah, if you can take the sliders, the master multiplier in this case, and push it all the way up to 2.0, What that means, almost unequivocally, is that the propeller, motor, battery combo, the drivetrain on the quad, is nowhere near optimized enough where, and basically it means that the response time of the mechanical system, the response time of your drivetrain is so slow that even by drastically pushing the pids, you're still not getting it to the point where the response time is anywhere near 65 millimeters or anywhere near like ideal. And so, yeah, that was the first thing on Wednesday. It was Friday, I guess. That was the first thing on Friday that I really noticed about these 802 33,000s is that finally I had a 75 millimeter rig that was like snappy and that the response time was getting there. The response time was getting close to being good. The PIDs can improve your response time by like, I'm going to take a guess here that's going to be close, but don't quote me on this. I'm going to say like 2 to 4 milliseconds is what you can get from the pit. I would love someone to black box test that, by the way. But I'm going to take a guess and say you can gain 2 to 4 milliseconds of response time with the PIDs by just like maxing the master multiplier out, for example. You can get like 5 to 10 milliseconds of improvement in response time by changing propellers or motors or battery lead, something in the drivetrain. The bulk of the improvement in response time will always come from the mechanical system rather than from the PIDs. And this is why I always tell you guys to focus on the mechanical system. Focus on your drivetrain. That is where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. Although you have to pay money, whereas adjusting PIDs is free. So that's not the right analogy, but you know what I mean. You're going to have a much bigger impact on response time and the way that the rig actually performs in the air with your mechanical system versus spending hours and hours and hours poring over black box logs and PIDs and filters and all that fun stuff. So yeah, that's what you're seeing there, CMYK. That is exactly why I'm so nuts right now about getting this thing dialed in. Simon23 said, and this is also why I've never been happy with the way that 75mm rigs fly. 65mm rigs are way more dialed in, and then if you want smoothness, you can add it digitally, and that allows you to adjust the smoothness with your fingers. 75mm rigs, they have that smoothness in there no matter what. You can't get rid of it, and that annoys the hell out of me because I don't want all of that delay. I want something that's quicker, and then I can choose to add delay where I want it and not where I don't want it. Simo says, what motor / lipo size did you use on your Grinderino? I've got 1504.5, 3950 kVs on 4S, but looking for a bit more. Any recommendations? Thanks. The kV is the reason why you're looking for more. 1504. So, all right, if you're looking for more, propellers are going to be the first spot to go. 1504.5 motors, these are Brother Hobby motors, 3950 kV. That is a motor that will make shitloads of power, but you need to put a big propeller, not an aggressive propeller on it. 3950 kV is not enough. 4500 kV is really where things start to get interesting with 3-inch and low-pitch 3.5-inch props. So the cheapest, quickest, easiest way for you to get more power out of that setup is to get 3.5-inch propellers that are very pitchy. I believe either GemFan or Emax makes a 3640, or it might be a 3630, 3.6-inch 30 pitch. And I think GemFan also now makes a 3.6-inch really aggressive, really pitchy propeller. Get those. That will probably give you everything that you're looking for out of that. What prop are you running now? Tag me again. Tell me what prop you're running now. I bet you it's a lower pitch propeller. So yeah, that's the easy solution to your problem. The answer to your question is that I have gigantic Xnova 1804 3500 kV motors on mainly because they're incredibly durable, and I'm just going to beat the living hell out of this thing. In order to get any power out of these motors that are 3,500 kV, which is pretty low, I run these incredibly durable T-Motor 3140 propellers. They're just a beefy ass prop that on these motors should give me just enough power. I also fly setups that are fairly low power to weight ratio. The less power to weight ratio, the more throttle resolution you have, and the easier it's going to be to fly closer to objects. And that's the flight footage that I really enjoy. I love when you've got that proximity to the ground all the time, or you dive a building and you're right on the side of the building. So yeah, I fly fairly low power setups. But yeah, here's the other thing that I will say though. Grinderino is an incredibly durable frame. I ran those Brother Hobby 1504.5s for a long time, and I found them to be extremely fragile. So if your plan is to beat the hell out of that build, I would actually move away from those motors. Also, you can't get those motors anymore. They went out of production a long time ago. So even if you have a source for those motors, eventually it'll dry up. So I would rather see you pull those motors off and put them on like a cinematic rig, because they're a great motor. They're just not a durable motor. Yeah, I would rather, if the plan is to beat the hell out of that rig, if you're not somebody that crashes into concrete and metal and shit like that all the time, you're fine. But if at some point you want to start bashing that rig, I would take those motors off and go to like the T-Motor 1604 is a great choice. The T-Motor 1804 is a great choice. The X-Nova 1804 with these propellers is a great choice. Or there's a bunch of 1404s that are actually really good. The T-Motor 1404s are a phenomenal motor, and they're going to make that thing significantly lighter. And you're going to have a ton of different prop selections. You're going to be able to run 3-inch props, 3.5-inch low-pitch props. So, yeah, bunch of different options there for you. Hopefully that's confusing enough. Gage Stays Fly says, good to see you, sir. You as well. Max Melner says, did you see Bot Grinder's post that was a cease and desist from Drone Camp Spicy FPV Drama? Mads Tech did an amazing post about it. Oh, where? Where did Mads Tech do a post? Sorry, but I gotta know. I gotta know where. I don't have to, but I want to know where Ian weighs in on this. I had a feeling it might be in shorts here or something like that. I'm going to guess that it's maybe one of those text posts on YouTube, but I don't know how to look at those. How do you look at somebody's text posts? I don't know if I follow Ian anywhere else. I don't know if I don't really spend any time on Facebook. Yeah, who can tell me where it is? Thank you in advance. Oh, Jesus, I'm super behind. Wow, I'm over a half an hour behind. Okay, time to go fast for like 1 second, and then I'll give a full answer on something that'll take a half an hour. Max says you beat me to it. Wait, let me read a couple of the non-tagged comments. See how Mike K says, yo, that drone cam shit is wild. What a fool. Alexander Lewis Hughes says, Bot's video was pretty mild in my opinion. Could have gone way harder. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Alexander also says he's met Justin in person. He's actually a super nice guy, but playing the game for sure. Yeah, look, I've never met him, but he does kind of seem like a super nice guy. But what Bot said is absolutely true. Go watch the Bot Grinder video for sure. What he says in that segment of the video is dead on the money, in my opinion. Absolutely 100% dead on. So, yeah, you can be the nicest person on earth, but if you do something that doesn't benefit the community that I absolutely love and bust my ass to put really good information out into, right? Like, I'm not, yeah, I don't like that. That's not cool in my opinion. You do you, right? Like, do what you got to do. Everybody's allowed to have their shtick and their own thing. But yeah. CH3FPV says, you guys and Bot and other nice people should make a live and discuss about it like a live podcast. It's a big shame for all the new people getting into the hobby. Please do it. No. Look, I don't want to dive into the drama thing. Even though his thumbnails and sort of just that general approach of like everything is the best is extremely frustrating. There is plenty of good content on his channel and in his videos. And if you watch, I think that most people, if they watch a couple of his videos, will kind of realize what's happening and see through it. And then they can, and then if he's the person that they connect with on YouTube, they can get a ton of great content out of his videos. So I'm not gonna join in on the throwing stones, shitting on whatever, increasing the drama thing. I'm gonna keep trying to put good info out and do good testing and hang out with cool people and that. I totally understand where you're coming from, CH3, and it is very tempting to get in on this. Because, you know, drama sells and I could get more subscribers and whatever, but it's not about that for me. It's about doing good quality work and putting good shit out there and trying to reduce we're a very small community, and so it does not make sense to cannibalize each other and to go after each other. This is why the bullshit that Fractal / maybe, I don't know their involvement, but maybe Infinity Loops as well, did to me hurt so bad. Because I busted my ass to put good info out there and not trash a product, and you know, the thanks that I get is people, you know, changing my logo in a way that's, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to get back into that. But Alexander says no one is in the wrong, honestly. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. That's true. 100%. It's just, I don't know. I think Drone Camps is in the wrong if he actually went to a lawyer and is actually going to pursue it. That is not cool. Frank Nicholas says, camera seems okay to me. Oh, this one? Okay, good. Maybe I was just seeing things. Alexander says, you're on it. If Blunty or JB flew high KV tiny whoop, they'd want Throttle Expo. I don't use it on my other big rigs. Try it. Try it on your big quads. Just a little bit of it. Just a little bit. Just add like 0.1 or 0.2. It's kind of cool. If you just add a little bit of it, it's really nice. It just adds this nice little bit, because you do cruise at around the same speed. So I think it does benefit big quads as well. Jamie Lee says, it was the frame, I swapped it back to stock and now it's fine. Interesting. Super odd, but it's fixed, so all good, thanks. Wow, weird, man. The only thing I can think of is that there was a C-clip rubbing on the inside of the frame. There's nothing about like the aerodynamics of a frame that I can really think of, that, because they're symmetrical, right? That's weird, dude. Jamie Lee was having like a weird yaw issue on one frame, and then he switched back to the old frame and it went away. Crazy. Perfect example. Jamie Lee's the troubleshoot that we did here is a perfect example of when as soon as you notice your quad doing something weird, stop immediately and just think, when the hell did this start? Did this just start right now, or has this been going on? And then what the hell did I change? That is like 90% of a troubleshoot. Like, what the hell happened right before this behavior started? Did I stack it into a tree at full throttle? Did I change the frame? Did I change BL Heli to Blue Jay? That whatever the hell happened right before the weird behavior started, that is almost always where the problem lies. Sometimes it's an easy thing. I change the frames, I change it back, problem solved. Sometimes it's layered and it's a lot harder, but that is the most important part of a troubleshoot, is to just like, when the hell did this start? Raw Pix FPV says, if you had to carry a naked GoPro 35 to 50 grams on a sub 250 analog quad, what prop motor battery would you use? Goal, control smoothness, appropriate power, freestyle, efficiency, thanks. In order to stay, that is a big conversation. That is a conversation that I would typically have on a Fiverr session that we would spend an entire half an hour or hour on. But the quick answer I can give you without all of the info that I would need to actually suggest the right motor would be the T-Motor 1404 4600 with, did you ask for propeller? Oh, prop motor battery. Propellers are a very specific thing for each one of us, so I'm not really going to comment on the propeller. They're cheap. Buy a bunch of them, see which one you like the best, and go with it. And then battery, it's 4S. Sub 250 does not benefit from 5S or 6S because the powertrain does not draw enough current for it to really positively impact the runtime or response time or anything like that. So yeah, 4S, 850, 650, 700, something like that. If you want to dive deeper into that raw picks, I would love to schedule a half an hour, and really dive in. And I've got a big list of questions that I ask you to really figure out what the goals of the rig are and all the stuff so that I can really dial you in. But off the cuff, yeah, that would be the motor that I can recommend that's going to cover the most possible bases, basically, and stay under 250. It's kind of hard to stay under 250, especially if you're picking up a camera that's 35 to 50 grams. So that is a bit of a struggle, but it is doable. Brandon McBean says, some point in the future, you should do a video where you reset the PID sliders to default on a drone, and then you try to tune with the ESC settings. Bob Ruby has touched on this concept before. Super interesting. Yeah, Bob was doing a lot with ESC settings a couple of years ago. But the default ESC settings are so good that, I mean, what's your stand on that, Brandon? You'll know better than me. I've never seen, other than like going from 24 to 48, right? Other than like the massive changes, I've never really seen much of a difference, if any noticeable difference in flight performance from the other ESC settings. So yeah, I mean, and like 24 versus 48 versus 96 is pretty straightforward. 96 for, I don't care about flight performance, all I care about is power and efficiency. 48 is the best mix of all worlds. 24 is really focused on, I'm not telling you this, Brandon, I'm telling everybody else this, obviously you know this. 24 kilohertz is solely focused on flight performance. You're going to sacrifice a little bit of power, a little bit of efficiency, but the flight performance is the best because it has the strongest braking force. Other than that, yeah, I've never been able to tell a difference when I've made changes in the ESC settings. And from what I've gathered, talking to Ryan Harrell, who is like the one guy that knows more about ESC settings and just ESCs and motors in general than anybody else, the stock ESC settings are pretty damn good. And even in, like, Chris Rosser did a video or two on ESC settings, and by the end of that video, his ESC settings were damn near stone stock. So yeah, what's your take on that, Brandon? Have you seen bigger, more noticeable? I mean, so Brandon spends time in black box where you can really see, like, in black box you can see with your eyes changes to flight performance that are imperceptible when you're actually in the air. So I'm actually more interested in your take on this, Brandon, than mine, because I've kind of tried this before and I can't feel a difference in the air, and that's how I tune, is by feel and by hearing it. Jamie Lee says, can you please show the old school 65mm betafpv frame or link it? It's confusing looking online for the one you say is the best. So it's easier. It's easier than you'd think, Jamie Lee. betafpv has two 65mm frames that matter: the Meteor 65 and the Meteor 65 Air. The Meteor 65 Air is the brand new one that's too fragile, in my opinion. So then just look for the regular old Meteor 65. I mean, this is what it looks like. They look very, very, very similar. Like, it's really hard to tell the difference between them. But yeah, the naming convention is there. Meteor 65, Meteor 65 Air, nice and simple. The old school Meteor 65 is like super durable. You can get a great PID tune on there. So yeah, that's the one. But all that being said, I actually prefer the Newbie Drone Cockroach 65 V3. This is my favorite tiny whoop frame at the moment. Simon23 says, GemFan Hurricane 3520s. There's your problem, my friend. 3520. That 20 is very low pitch, and then you've got a motor that's not super high kV. A very low pitch propeller is going to match well with a very high kV motor. A very high pitch propeller you can run on a lower kV motor. So get you some 3.5 or 3.6 inch propellers that have more than 20 pitch. GemFan has a 3525. That'll be a huge improvement. You can even find some 3630s, some 3530s. Just look around, hit a bunch of your favorite shops, and you'll find some higher pitch 3.5 inch props, and that will make a massive difference. Blind Pyro says, on the first battery of the day, my whoop flies normally for a couple of seconds, then it loses power and drops to the ground. After a couple of seconds, it flies again. Is this okay? I love that question. Is this okay? It depends on who you ask. I would maybe be okay with that. I don't know. You tell me. Is it okay? That to me is the sign of an AIO that is in its last dying breaths. Regardless of how new it is, that strikes me as an AIO that's on its way out. So I would just keep beating the shit out of it. It's going to die at some point, and then you can replace it with one that doesn't exhibit that behavior. But there's nothing in Betaflight that I can think of that you can change that would help that, right? Because like it all of a sudden it's fine. That just defies anything, right? Like the fact that it acts weird and then all of a sudden it's completely fine, like it just makes no sense whatsoever. So the only way I can parse that in my head, and I've seen shit like this before on AIOs that are about to die. There's a surface mount chip on there that like one of the legs is like just barely making contact, and for whatever reason, like maybe when the board heats up after that first crash or whatever, the leg sticks down and you get good contact for the rest of the battery. You're not going to be able to find that unless you have a fancy microscope set up and whatnot. So yeah, just keep pounding the shit out of that rig. Eventually it'll die and you can replace it, and you'll never get that behavior again. Kevin Sumner says community tab. Where? What? Community tab. Oh, on Mad's Tech's channel. Yeah. Ooh, there it is. Oh boy. Here we go. First things first, no live tonight, traveling. I know this would have been a juicy one. However, we're going to have to do it in next text. Do it in text. Reason background video, highlighting feels the issue of business FPV, specifically affiliate links used with their creators. Mads Tech was featured in this video, regardless of what it was in a positive or negative way. I absolutely, here we go. This fucking Ian's the best. God damn it. Absolutely welcome all scrutiny, criticism, feedback on anything I do on my channel, including the use of affiliate links in content. I may not always agree with what others say about me, and I may not even like what people may say at all times. However, that comes with the territory. Yep. And you just have to accept that. Yep. In the case of something I felt was wrong, I probably would make a rebuttal video with lots of swearing, arm waving, and fact sharing my perspective. Yes. At the end of the day, my reputation is down to me to manage, and no one else but me can manage it. As creators, we put ourselves in the spotlight, and sometimes people will say things we don't like. However, I would never consider legal action against another creator, regardless of what they said. Yep. I feel I have always been very open on what we receive in content, and I've already decided to this step further with all the content from now alongside the verbal disclaimer, having a specific slide highlighting the exact details as you will see below from an upcoming review. This was actually a plan before I even knew about the video. This is basically what Joshua does. This is what all reviewers... Look, this is what all reviewers have to do, but shouldn't have to do. You know what I'm saying? You can find Bot's video linked below. I'll be clear in stressing I 100% welcome this kind of content and scrutiny from him and anyone else, and he has my full support. So there you go. There's one more vote in my poll for Team Bot Grinder. Yeah, man, look. Sending a legal document over, like I said earlier, that ain't it. That is... Doing that is not a good idea. Doing that and sending it to Bot Grinder is really not a good idea. So, yeah. As always, Ian is absolutely dead on the money. Go figure. All right. Thanks for calling that out. Wild. Can we please stop tearing each other down now? Everybody? Can we stop it? It's just, we're too small of a community, guys. We're too small of a community. It does not help anything. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Gotta stop doing it. It hurts everyone. Got that. YouTube just scrolled me to the bottom. Hold on. Oh, I'm almost caught up. Good, good, good. Kevin Sumner dropping a direct link. Thank you, dude. Morton Upshot says I saw it on YouTube. Good, good, good. Northern Tier says Teddy is the best. CMYK with a... Oh, linking me directly to it. Daniel1964 says, up to you if you want to read. Drone cams cost me a lot of money when I started in this hobby. His everything is great is a joke. And there you go. That is exactly what Bot says in his video. And I have mentioned this before. Early days, I probably named names. Over the last year or two, no names named. But we've talked about this. And, yeah. Is the last thing I'm going to say about it. I don't think that Justin is specifically doing it on purpose. I can almost guarantee you that he is not specifically doing it on purpose to hurt new people into the hobby. And that's not what Bot says in his video. What Bot says in his video is that it is hurting people. Just like Daniel just said, right? It did not help him. I cannot possibly imagine that Justin is maliciously doing it to hurt people. The best description I've ever heard of clickbait is that clickbait is unreasonably effective. Think about that. Unreasonably effective. Justin is just clickbaiting. Although the technical definition of clickbait is that, you say something in the thumbnail that you then don't deliver upon in the actual video. I guess you could argue that in the thumbnail he's saying that this thing is the absolute best, and then in the video it's not actually the best, even though probably in the video he's saying like this is the best. And I don't know, maybe it is to him. Maybe his perspective on these rigs is that they are the absolute best. I don't know. I'm not inside his brain. It can have a negative effect on people that are brand new in the hobby, and it can get them to keep buying more and more and more new builds and then wondering why they're not significantly better than the previous one. What's the definition of best? Maybe because it's newer and it's not beat up, it is the best, right? It's just this big awful gray area, but yeah, I don't know. I can see both sides of the argument. I can see the side of the argument that says, look, as a consumer, it's up to you to look at more than just one channel and do your due diligence. But we don't have time for that, right? And, you find somebody that you trust, and then, I don't know. Let's leave it there. CH3FPV says, it's not about shizzling on each other. More also about these companies doing Cinewhoop with O3 just to get Mavic pilots into FPV. Yeah. Yeah. JP Spin says, Mads Tech response under community tab. Thank you, dude. Brandon Peen says, I was just tuning a long-range rig for stability in the wind, and the ramp-up power on BL Heli 32 was acting like tracking and a little like damping. It affected my P to D ratio. Did it have that big of an effect, though? Like how much did you have to adjust the P to D ratio to correct that, I guess is my question. That's wild. I would never have thought that ramp up power could do that. That's wild. Demo FPV says, hey gangly gang. Brandon, should we just be maxing our ramp up power out, maxing it out on everything? Is it helping? There's a chance. Raw pics. If you're gonna tag me, type @CiottiFPV. Just typing @Ciotti, it won't turn it in yet. It won't make it orange for me, but I just happened to see your comment. I've got some 37,000 kV 1404s laying around, 3,700 kV rather. Could they be useful for a sub 250 3-inch, or is the kV just too low? Really appreciate the time to take. Wish I could give back more. No, it's all good, dude. Anything you do, hanging out in the chat, clicking the thumbs up, subscribing, doing the bell, whatever. That all helps. There's no right amount of help. Anything that anybody can do is amazing. 3,700 kV in a 1404. You're just on the border. You're not gonna get like mega power out of it. What I would do with those motors is try to build like a 200 gram all up weight rig, or like a 220 gram all up weight rig. A 1404 is not a big enough motor to crank a high pitch 3-inch or a 3.5 inch. And then 3,700 kV is not quite enough RPM for a low pitch lightweight 3-inch prop or a low pitch 3.5 inch prop. So do one of two things. Either build a 250 gram right on the nose 3.5 inch rig and run like the Gemfan 3520s or maybe the 3525s, or build like a 200, 210, 220 gram 3-inch rig with middle of the road pitch. Just buy all the 3-inch propellers and try them. There's like 6. It'll cost you like $20 to get all of them. And yeah, 3,700 is not so low that it's outside of the realm of possibilities, but it's right on the sort of limit. Kevin Sumner says, some teaser shots for you in live stream live. What the hell's happening here? Here we go. Here's some of Kevin Sumner's camera testing. Oh, yeah. I'm just going to jankily zoom on the screen, but that is 8 different cameras. Holy hell. Awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. Simon says, scratched nano 3 lens on one of my 265mm, misted out, and now useless, out of stock everywhere, but only 20 minutes later, someone posted 2 for sale on Facebook at 10 pounds. Sometimes the universe cares. That's ridiculous. I just saw this camera blink again. It's gonna die. Wait, hold on. Maybe it's just plugged in weird. The plug is coming out of the port. I'm sure it's not, but you never know. Plug goes up here. Where does it go from there? It goes over here. Oh, that's a plug that's on an extension cord. Maybe that is causing a problem. All right, so pushing that in a little bit firmer, and then there's the extension cord. Hopefully that fixed it. Did it blink at all just now when I was farting around with it? Greenhorn says, have you noticed certain motors slipping shafts more than others? Yes, older... it just blinked, I saw it. Older Tiny Whoop motors that did not have knurled shafts slipped way more often. The new ones are way better. But other than that, no, I haven't noticed specific ones. Brandon Bean says, I don't think that's a safe assumption, limiting ramp-up power. to some degree is a safety measure to prevent ESCs from blowing when the props are stuck. Okay, very cool. I really try to never max the ramp up power out. But I was just kind of wondering now that we're talking about this. But with underpowered efficiency rigs, it seems to be good to increase it until you get diminishing returns before worrying about your PIDs. Very cool. Very, very cool. Simon says misted equals fogged. Yeah, I took me a second, but I picked up on what you were. Yes, blinking on the bench cam. Let me know if it... No, I mean, I do have another USB... hold on. I didn't... What I should have done is unplug it all the way. Although I think that's I'm gonna lose the bench cam, but it does make an awful lot of sense to actually unplug it all the way. Where the hell did the goddamn cable go? Oh, here it is. All right, so it's this one. I'm gonna unplug it from the hub. So plug it back in, unplug it, plug it back in. All right, cool. And then here's the actual extension. Unplug that, plug it back in. Come on, get back in there. All right, unplug it one more time, and plug it back in. This will just make sure that the problem is not like dirty contacts or something weird like that. Okay. Now we've probably lost that camera, but it should pop up at some point. Oh, wow, it's back. Also, hold on. Let me launch the... No, yeah, the Logitech software is running, so it shouldn't be that. Yeah, I think that camera's on its way out. Let me know if it blinks again. Wakanabe says, what about the Hype Train 29,700 kV 802s? From what I've heard, they're a little bit heavy, but other than that, yeah, that's an okay kV. Yeah, I don't really have any thoughts on them. They're heavier than the Tiny Whoop 0802 30,000s. So I would just go with those. I would go with the Tiny Whoop motors every time. But the Hype Train motors are a cool color, and yeah, if they're totally fine. Frank Nicholas says there's a free version to try before you buy/subscribe. Test first on different laptop/different Mac for OBS use. What are we talking about? FYI, you don't need any crappy Logitech software to use Logitech cameras for optimal camera control of any camera on Mac OS. Check out Reincubate. Interesting. Good find. All right, I'm going to leave this open in a tab. I'll check it out tonight. Very cool. I never even thought about that. I don't really need any controls, but the Logitech software, it just sucks. Like, the camera will just be out of focus until I open the software and like click through the camera. Like, what the hell is that about? That seems like terrible camera software to me. But what do I know? I'm not a computer guy. Here we go, my friends. It's time to do the things that I put in the description of the video. First things first, we are going to figure out if the lighter weight 802s have the exact same stator. I don't see why they wouldn't, as the Tiny Whoop onesies. So let's get it going. Okay. I have a better chance of seeing this damn thing blinking now that I'm on the bench cam. All right, so Wakanabe says, those motors on a 75mm, or should I go bigger KV? 30,000 kV seems to be where things start to get interesting on 75mm. They're not like a miracle like the 33,000s are, but for most people, I'm looking for a lot. Also, these are Walksnail rigs, right? So if you're doing an analog rig, those those 802 Hype Train 30,000s are probably going to be, no, not probably, they're definitely going to be chaos in a good way, and then you could just motor limit them down because they're probably going to be a little bit too much. So yeah, on a lightweight 75mm analog rig, those motors are going to be nutty. So this is me removing the C-clip. I did a video Wednesday, I guess, with a more detailed description of how to do this. Basically, I take these fine tipped tweezers, I put them a little bit on a diagonal, One of the jaws goes on the motor shaft, the other jaws goes on the part of the C-clip that's here, and then, so the motor shaft is here, so you're going to use the pliers to just kick the C-shaft like that. So it sits here, you're going to kick it up like that, so it's starting to come off, and then I'm going to put my finger up on top of this to hold the C-clip down to make sure it doesn't shoot off into Never Never Land. The one thing you have to be careful of is that the C-clip will like work itself back all the way onto the motor shaft, so sometimes you have to do this twice. So put my finger over here, just barely get the tips of the pliers on the end of the C-clip, and then just push it off the rest of the way. And then lose it somehow. Where did it go? A lot of times it'll stick to the motor bell. In this case, it bounced perfectly over here, and I just didn't see it. My God! These C-clips are so small. So you take that C-clip off, and then you've got two washers here. Take your really fine-tipped tweezers. I'm actually going to use the black ones. They're a little bit better. And you're going to remove these. Super, super, super careful. The force that you put on your tweezers is enough to get these to shoot off across the room. They don't even need to go across the room. They just need to get into your carpet, and then they're gone forever. So be super, super, super careful. Do this nice and low. I almost just lost that. I pushed down on it on the silicone, and it tried to shoot off. So then we've got our little Teflon washer. You're just going to dig that one out. All right. And again, infinitely careful. Also, try to do this low on your desk so that if you drop these, they don't have a lot of momentum to get away from you. Stay nice and low. Stay super calm. Don't breathe. And now we can separate the bell from the stator. And we can take a look. And then you're going to have the Teflon washer and the brass washer inside the bell as well. Just leave those alone. They'll be fine. So, this is an EX stator. This is a stator from the IGOW motors, which are the onesie style. And I can already kind of tell you that they're identical. Let's get this. But let's look at them in as much detail as possible. I mean, there's no reason for Happy Model to have a different stator on either one of these motors. But it's not very difficult to take these things apart and take a quick look at them. So I figured, what the hell, let's do it. So, great. Hitting it always helps. See? See? Hitting it helps, guys. I'm telling you. EX lightweight here. Onesie here. It's going to be tough for me to hold these the exact same distance to the camera. But, yeah, I mean, I'm just sort of looking at them with a little bit of magnification here. And between the fact that, like, there's no reason for them to change this, and I can just kind of see. I mean, they're both 802s. You know, it's the bell design that's different between them. Yeah, this is going to be fine. So, and I'm just kind of putting the stators next to each other at this point to make sure that the stator height is the same, because that's the main thing. But I'm also looking at how the upper bushing is mounted to make sure it's not mounted higher on one than the other, and it's not. These are very obviously the same thing. There's a weird like notch in the stator, and that is in the exact same position. The wines look the same. Take a look at the bottom. Yeah, the bottom looks the same. These are slightly different. This is an older school Happy Model motor that does not have the PCB on it. This is a newer school one that does have the PCB on it. But like the heights of everything are the same. Oh wow, this new motor even has a little piece of Teflon in here to attempt to protect the motor windings from if you put a screw that's too long in. That's really fancy. You only usually see that on more expensive motors. That's cool. And bigger motors. I'm surprised that's in a tiny whoop motor. That's slick. Yeah, the number of laminations and the thickness of the laminations on the stator are exactly the same. Yeah, no. We're good. This is the same. That is amazing. That is the main thing that I wanted to do here. So, if you didn't catch it before, what that is going to allow me to do is build the ultimate 0802 33,000 kV motor by using the stator, just the stator, from the Tiny Whoop Emoptera. I think I'm saying that wrong, but the Tiny Whoop Hex 0802 33,000 kV. I'm going to take all of these bells off, not on the stream because it's just tedious. I'm going to take all of these bells off, and I'm going to replace them with the bells with the 1.5 millimeter stronger motor shafts from the Tiny Whoop IGOW motors. And I'm going to... I have a request, my friends. I need you to ask any other Tiny Whoop people that you know this, because... yeah, this is a very specific one. The first run of Tiny Whoop 0802 27,000 kV 1.5 millimeter motor shaft IGOW motors. The original run from, Christ, like 6 months ago. They were this blue color. They were this really cool royal blue color, all right, which is the same color as these Emoptera motors, and the same color as the stators that I'm going to be using. I have a full set of these OG IGOW motors, and so I'm going to use them so that, because I'm a nerd. But the problem is I've bashed the shit out of these, so I wouldn't be surprised if one of these bells is maybe bent a little bit. But also, I can't ever just have one set. So I would love to buy or trade someone for their OG set of IGOW blue motors, as long as they're not beaten to hell. If they're beat to shit, it doesn't do me any good because this is a Walksnail rig, and I'm afraid of Jello. But yeah, if anybody out there, please ask your friends if you've got an original set of these blue IGOW 802 27,000s. Yeah, I will buy them from you. Bob Bruce says I have 2 sets of them. Do you really? Dude, message me, please. Hopefully one of those sets is relatively fresh. I would rather put a totally fresh set of bells on here. Again, because this is the Jungle Gym basher and it's been bashed. But yeah, I'll take what I can get. At the very least, I need one extra. Because, so help me God, if I do all this work and then I bang one of these motors up and I have to put a mismatched purple one. Oh, okay. So then the end of the, I need to call this out. The current generation IGOW motors are this purple color, which is cool. I love this purple color, but these Emoptera stators are that blue, and it would just be too cool to have a matching set of blue on blue. You know what I mean? So support my insanity, please. And now we're gonna try to fix a slipping motor shaft. Bob Bruce says, I would consider trading a set of the old for the new, and one set has about 10 batteries through it, maybe. Were those 10 somewhat gentle batteries, or were they 10 of the hardest batteries you've ever flown? No matter what, Bob, I will make it worth your while, dude. Whatever I have to do, I will absolutely make it worth your while. Jarbeezy says, little idea for a future stream, try Walksnail in racing mode to see if it improves latency experience. I love that idea. Jar and anybody else, over on Discord, there's a link on CiottiFPV.com. There is a text channel open to everyone. You don't have to be a patron rather, called Name the Stream. Name the Stream is the text channel where that is a perfect suggestion. for. We can maybe try Walksnail in racing mode today. I think I'm on the newest firmware. I've never seen it in the menu though, but if you or somebody else can put that idea into the name of the stream, I would greatly appreciate that. When I can't think of, when it's, an hour before the live stream and I can't think of a great idea, I will just go into name the stream and scroll through, and someone will have an amazing idea that I have the parts on the bench for. So yeah, thank you, dude. That's a great idea. Okay. Wakanabe, I think I answered all your questions. If not, just copy it again, please. Very gentle. Amazing. Dude, I will, I will make it worth your while. I promise you that. Just shoot me a message if you don't mind, and we'll work it out for sure. Just put them back in their box, waiting for you to find out if they would fit those. Oh, dude, awesome. You're the fucking man, Bob. Thank you so much. Okay, so if you've got a slipping motor shaft, easiest way to tell is to put a propeller. Usually it's pretty obvious, but if it's not super obvious, put a propeller on. You don't have to put it all the way, just put it on there so it's relatively firm. Grip the motor bell and then try to spin the propeller. And technically the propeller might be spinning on the motor shaft. You can tell by looking at the C-clip. You do not want the C-clip to move when you spin the propeller, in this case. This is a surefire sign of a slipped motor shaft on the bell. Ready? See the C-clip rotating with the propeller? That is not good because I'm holding the bell steady. So the motor shaft is spinning on the bell, and that is a complete deal breaker. Easiest thing to do is just to throw that motor away. That's probably your best bet. But in this case, these IGOW motors are sold out, and they typically take a little bit of time for a Happy Model to resupply Tiny Whoop. So we are going to try to repair this motor. And the stuff that you need is Loctite 638. This is specifically for joining pieces of metal and having them not slip, basically, apart from one another. I just got this. I don't know if there's any kind of a safety seal. Nope, no safety seal. With these tiny little motors, though, good God, are you going to need to be careful with this stuff. If this Loctite gets anywhere other than the joint between the motor shaft and the motor bell, it's going to ruin the motor. So that's why it's probably better just to bail and just throw the motor away and get a replacement motor. But we can't do that because these motors don't exist at the moment. So let's see if we can fix it. Let me just put this this EX802 back together. Now that we've figured out that it is going to work. And C-clip. Putting these back together is arguably more difficult than taking them apart. And I think there is a higher chance of losing the C-clip when you're putting it back together. Use magnification. Put your 5x loop in your eyeball so that you can see what the hell you're doing here. So there's not I don't have like a super great technique for this other than to do it inside of a plastic bag, and that way you don't lose this C-clip, but I ain't got time for that. And I have a lot of these I have a load of extra C-clips for these. So I just get it started here and then do the reverse. Put the jaws on one, jaws on the other, and put your finger over top in hopes that you can catch it if it tries to fly off. Putting it back is significantly harder. It wants to like rotate. It just doesn't want to go back on it. They kind of want to come off, but they don't want to go back on. So yeah, putting them back together is a little difficult, but you'll get it. Just be patient. Try it a couple times. Try it for 5 minutes and then walk away from it. Is a good suggestion. And come back to it. Try it for another 5 minutes. It gets really frustrating if you try to do it for 15 minutes straight. There we go. That's it. And it's never going to go all the way on that first hit. It's going to go back to that halfway point, and then you need to turn your pliers up like this to get it the rest of the way, because when you do it initially, you're blocking it from going all the way on with the other set of jaws. But that's it. Totally doable. No big deal. You can do it. Just stay calm. For the love of God, stay calm. Okay, so in order to do this, I could technically try to do it with this put together, but that would be... I mean, it's already really difficult, and that would take it to a place of impossibility, so don't do that. Take the motor apart. So we're going to get the C-clip started here. All right, it's halfway off. And then put a finger on top. Catch the thing, and then just push it the rest of the way off. There we go. Stick it to your finger. It'll then drop down and try to stick to the bell. All right, got it. I'm wearing the nerd goggles right now, for the record. They help so much when you're doing this. Any kind of magnification is super, super, super helpful when you're working on these tiny whoop motors. There's the brass washer. Here's the Teflon. Again, no real amazing technique here other than just stay calm, keep your hands as low to the desk as possible, and just understand that, like, at any second, all of this stuff is going to try to vanish into thin air, vanish into thin carpet, I should say. All right, so there we go. Now we got the bell off, and we need to get access to where the motor shaft meets the bell. So I am actually going to take the extra set of washers off here. So we've got a brass washer, just like on the bottom. We're going to grab it. And you got to take your time doing this, guys. If you try to rush this, these washers will just vanish. And if you don't have extras, you're screwed. Although I think Tiny Whoop might actually sell. They did at one point, but I think I saw it go out of stock. Maybe it's back in stock. At one point, they sold these, a little pack of these C-clips and washers. Okay, Teflon washer is now off. And for whatever reason, the stacking of these is Teflon washer, brass washer, then the stator, but then on the bottom of the stator it's Teflon washer, brass washer. I don't know why, but that's how Happy Model does it. In theory, there's a reason for it, so I always put them back together. Nah, not always. I usually put them back together in the same way. At this point, what I could technically do is push this. So on the top of the motor shaft, there is a C-clip to make sure that the motor's shaft doesn't fall down through the bell. There's nothing like that on the bottom. So I can probably push, I can push this motor shaft up a little bit. I don't want to really push it all the way up and out, because if there's any little bit of extra hanging on, I want to leave that. But by pushing this motor shaft up a little bit, it's going to let me get a little bit more of this Loctite in to the actual part of the motor shaft where it meets up with the bell. So just a little bit of upward pressure, just wiggling it back and forth, just a little. Okay. All right, well, now it's all the way out. I pushed up a little bit too hard. But this is going to allow me to really to get the Loctite exactly where it needs to be. I mean, at this point, I guess I might as well. Well, no. What I was gonna say is I can pull the motor shaft all the way out and then put Loctite on the inside of the hole in the bell and then put it back together. But if I did that, when I push the motor shaft down through, the bottom of the motor shaft where it's in the bushings is gonna pick up a bunch of that Loctite, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna push this back down, almost all the way down, because I just want to get the Loctite on just the top part of the shaft right below the C-clip. So right now, I'm going to put the Loctite just on the motor shaft, and then I'm going to push it back together. This way, the Loctite only is on the part of the shaft that meets with the bell, and it doesn't get anywhere on the shaft that needs to be slippery on the bushings in the stator. So this worked out kind of okay. I'm going to use a safety pin for this. I want to pick up as little of the Loctite as possible. So I use a safety pin because I've got the really sharp little pin part here. And this will just pick up a nothing amount of the Loctite, which is pretty much what I need. So what I'll do is I'll make a little pool of this Loctite somewhere. What the hell's going on? Why won't the cap come off? What? Oh, there we go. All right. So what do I have? Like a little piece of plastic or something I can blob this on. Hold on, let me go in the garbage can. Here we go. A battery that I was throwing away. Perfect. So I'm just going to make a little pool of the Loctite. All right. Come on. What the hell is this? This is a weird top on this thing. Well, actually, there's no need to do that. I can just... There's already a bunch of Loctite in there. I can just leave the lid off here. Oh, this is sketchy. I'm going to dump this whole thing of Loctite out. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here with the pin head, and I'm just going to like get the pin head wet with the stuff. And now I have just a minuscule amount there. And now I'm going to take this motor, and I just want to be super careful and just only put it right here and right there, and that is all that we need. We do not have to put a lot, and I actually think you should put less than you think you should, and then push the bell back in there, and that's it, my friends. That will hopefully cure and make a nice strong connection. And now on the bottom, I'm going to look and make sure that, on the inside here, I want to look with some magnification to make sure that none of that green liquid is on the part of the motor shaft that's going to be interacting with the bushings. And nope, it looks like we're good. I can see the green there, so it is, yeah, there is a good layer of that green stuff. And again, I'm just going to double check and just push down on the motor shaft. Cool. And now hopefully this thing is repaired. I'm going to give it some time. Does it talk about it on the package, how long to give it to cure, I wonder? Let's see. On the back it says, clean all surfaces, shake well before use. I didn't shake well. Apply sufficient amount of product. Product cures in the absence of air and the presence of metal, but it doesn't say how long. I'll give it 24 hours. I'm in no huge rush. And we're back together here. This is the strangest cap I've ever seen. I don't think the cap actually... Okay, the cap doesn't actually thread on. It's just friction fit. Anybody need any Loctite 638? I have too much. I might never use this again. If anybody needs this, I'll ship it to you, and then you can ship it to the next person that needs it, and then eventually, hopefully, it gets shipped back here. Because at some point I'll need it, but like I said, usually I'll just throw these motors away. But this particular motor is out of stock at the moment. So, yeah. Ramdongo says, Y-what motor has a consistently thick shaft, 1.5 millimeters? None of them. You got to go all the way up to like a 1504 to get a. Oh wait, no, 1.5. No. So you'll get an actual 1.5 millimeter shaft. Oh wow, the 1202s don't even have it. My guess would be once you get up to like a 12 millimeter wide stator, maybe an 11. This is a 1202. This is a 1202, and it does have a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft all the way down through the stator. So you can definitely get a proper 1.5 mil shaft on 12 mil wide stators, maybe on 11 mil wide stators. But the Flywoo 1002s do not have a true 1.5 mil shaft all the way down through the stator. Nor do any of the smaller tiny whoop motors. It's a problem of stator size. The tiny little stator sizes are too small to put a big fat 1.5 millimeter motor shaft and then bushings and then have room for the stator poles. So yeah, I don't think you're going to get a true 1.5 mil shaft from anything smaller than 11 or definitely 12, but maybe 11. Good question. Max says, why does nobody put capacitors on tiny whoops? Ever tried it? I have. It's a packaging problem. There's just not a good spot to put them. And capacitors are not super durable either. Tiny whoops, we try to keep them ultra durable. Putting a capacitor onto a diamond AIO makes it somewhat usable. It's still just junk, but it does make it a little bit more usable, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's just tiny whoops are just infinitely small, and so packaging wise, it's tough to find a spot for a capacitor to go. The AIOs should be manufactured in a way that they don't require a capacitor. That's the right way of doing things. So if you have to run a capacitor, like you've got a thing that's kind of a mess anyway. So let's fly, my friends. These are going to require this module. So we're going to compare 30,000 and 33,000 again, like we did on Friday. Because I like to retest stuff. Oh shit, I forgot to do mailbag, yo. Wait a second, we're gonna wait on mailbag. I did not put it into the title of the live stream, so we're gonna do mailbag tomorrow. Tomorrow night at 10, we'll do mailbag. Let's fly a little bit, and then I gotta get this wrapped up because Maggie and I are going dancing again tonight. Every Sunday night at a local bar, there's a really cool guy doing couples dance lessons, and I've always hated not knowing how to dance. And I'm absolutely loving learning how to dance. And Maggie loves dance, so I'm doing something that she absolutely loves, which makes me seem like an awesome person. When in reality, I'm having a blast too. So find those things in life, yo. Find things that other people love doing with you that you also enjoy. I mean, you should enjoy doing things that other people in your life enjoy doing, full stop, right? But sometimes you'll absolutely hate them. Like if Maggie absolutely loved, I mean, she does, like to knit. I have zero interest in knitting. But, luckily people like more than one thing. So inevitably you can find something that you don't hate that, the important people in your life enjoy. Why am I not getting the menu? What's happening here? Come on. Come on, little fella. Yeah, should be that. What? Why? Why you do this? Why you gotta do this to me? I changed nothing from yesterday. I changed not one thing. Let's power cycle it. Let's see if that helps. Hey, there it is. It's coming to life. Come on, man. What? Why is all my Elgato gear all of a sudden shitting the bed? What the hell? Stream Deck is starting to act up now. This HD60 Plus is not fucking working. I mean, I guess it could be this cable. Hey, there we go. Wonder if it was the cable. Weird. First up is 30,000 kV. Let's start low and then we'll go high. Move the chat back over real quick here. Sergio says betafpv 5 amp. Happy Model 0702 26,000 OVX 300 Cadex Ant Light Meteor Air 65mm frame. Thoughts? That is a racing build. Not going to be my favorite for freestyle, but probably brilliant for racing. Not terrible. Not terrible for freestyle. Just not like an optimized freestyle combo, which is fine. The racing builds fly great. Simon says mailbag is in the title, but more for Monday. Is it really? Oh, it is. All right, hold on. We'll fly one. No. We should. All right, here we go. I put it in the title. We're doing it. Damn it. Let's start with the crazy one. We're gonna start with the crazy one. Adam Weston with a super generous offer a week or two ago. He bought DJI goggles too, but he's not going to be able to use them until April. So he's like, yo, I'm going to send these to you, and you can use them until April. Don't destroy them. And I was like, deal. So Adam, dude, thank you. So cool. Such a cool offer for you to send these. It says RB unit. I guess that means refurbished, right? Refurbished. I buy refurbished stuff all the time. It's always great. Yeah, we're going to dive into these in the future. I'm not going to like... Well, hold on. Let me see how they fit, actually. I'm dying to know how they fit. But yeah, I've got an O3 Air unit. I've heard that these fit really, really nicely. Man, they are small. Good God. I mean, they're normal sized. I'm used to DJI goggles being gigantic. Oh, wow, they do not fit me very well at all. They are, there is a massive gap. I hope you guys can see that on the left and right. So these will need newbie drone foam. I've heard that the newbie drone foam is really good, though. Or wedges. They might include wedges or something like that. But, yeah, these are made for a flatter this area of face, which is something that we see a good amount in this hobby. Dude, thank you again. This is super rad. I cannot wait to check this out. This will let me fly that iFlight Defender, and McConnell Studios actually sent me a Cinesplorer with O3 a while back. So yeah, this is super, super, super cool. Thank you, dude. I have a feeling at some point, especially now that the prices have come down on them, I'm going to buy myself a set of these, but this is awesome to get to check them out ahead of time. Make sure this gets back in that box. And then we've got, shout out to Emacs, man. I reached out to Emacs for something. No, they reached out to me. They said, hey, any interest in a couple of analog rigs, reviewing a couple of our analog rigs? I said, yeah, I'm not really flying stuff. They're not tiny whoops. I said, I'm not really flying outside because it's miserable here. But once it warms up, yeah, absolutely. And they were like, well, we'll just send them to you. And then whenever you can have them on the live stream, that's great. So they sent me this guy, which is Tiny Hawk 3 Plus. Tiny Hawk 3 Plus, which has... they do this thing with their motors where the propeller... I'm going to test this at some point, and we'll look up all the specs on it. But, yeah, super adjustable up tilt. And I've actually never flown one of these. I remember Kebab reviewed this when it first came out, and he was, like, blown away by it. So this will be cool. I'm looking forward to testing this. See how it is. Comes with the typical, you know, smatter-assing of get you started stuff, which is awesome. And then they sent a Tiny Hawk 3 Plus HD, but it's not actually the HD. It's just the Tiny Hawk 3 Plus freestyle analog blind and fly. So yeah, this will be cool. Once I fly outside again, I will take these out with me. Emacs has sent me something just like this in the past that I've tested, and it was pretty damn good. It was a little underpowered, but you know, Emacs and Newbie Drone, when they make these starter rigs, of course they're not going to make them like mega powerful. There's some stuff to love about these, for sure. What's this camera? Little tiny run cam with a little tiny lens on it. Yeah, this will be neat. I don't fly bind and flies very often, so when I do, it's always interesting. 1202.5, 7,000 kV motors. So it's almost certainly going to be a little bit underpowered from what I usually fly. Although it is 2S. It's got one of these double PH 2.0 2S connectors. I will probably move this over to BT2. I don't know. I guess I should fly it as it comes, and then maybe we upgrade it. I don't know, though. I mean, it would be pretty easy to do. Oh, maybe what I do on this is pick up a set of the new BT 3.0. Maybe I convert this over to BT 3.0. That would make sense. These are some of my favorite propellers. These are the Emacs Avan Scimitar 2.5-inch props. So yeah, it's gonna have great props on it. Yeah, thank you, Emacs. Very, very cool. Most companies don't have the balls to send me stuff to review because I'm extremely honest, and if something's not perfect, I'm gonna say it. I appreciate you guys sending this over, but that does not excuse you from any mistakes that you've made becoming transparent. But I'm very fair about it, and I always work really hard to say this is perfect for blah 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 blah. Like, it's important to me to always say, like, look, this will work really well for a pilot that's in such and such a scenario. So yeah, that'll be fun. I'm kind of looking forward to flying them outside. And then I did a little order from Volertis. It's a shop down in Texas that was that's closing up, unfortunately, and they had a discount code. And one of you guys, two of you actually messaged me. One of you messaged me. It might have been CMYK and said, "Yo, they're going out of business." And then somebody else, it was like a week ago, I apologize, I forget, messaged me and said, "Yo, they've got Mobula 6s. And they had a few of them. So I hate to be that guy that buys a bunch of stuff and then puts it on eBay and marks the price up, but that's not what I'm going to do. I bought 3 of them. Because I'm terrified that these AIOs are going to go away forever. I got 2 19,000 kVs and 1 25,000 kV. So yeah, at least one of these is going to get updated. Is going to get upgraded, fully upgraded, and sold. So one of these will wind up in the hands of you beautiful bastards. One of these I will probably hang on to just to have an extra one of these AIOs. And then the other one, I don't know. Maybe I'll sell the other one too. But I'm just so scared that the new 2023 Mobula 6 is going to be worse. Yeah, I don't know. And then I snagged another 4S 1050, which are the batteries that I run on the heavier Cinesplores. So yeah, that was my lighter sorter. And there's your mailbag for the day. How's my mailbag looking? Short, shriveled and to the left, as always. I'm gonna get in trouble for this shit one day. Ah! It says do not pull, so I pulled it. Wow, I can usually just pop it off of there real easily, but not this one. Why am I doing this? Stop doing this. Start flying. Donkey. The Mahindra Donkey. Okay. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. There it is. Tattoo R-Line version 1 1050 4S. Very, very, very lightweight battery. On the floor it goes. This is cool. Yeah, it makes me feel better to have an extra couple of these in. And I love upgrading these and then either selling or auctioning. Or I think what we'll do is a live auction. That was really fun last time. We'll have a live stream where we do that. Ramdongo says, so you dressed to the left, Tiller Secrets. CMYK says, glad that worked out. I picked up all the 3D props so I can try out some ZO3 flying. That's really cool. What am I doing? I gotta turn these on first. Turn these on. VRX, transmitter. Now we're gonna fly a little bit. Easy, phone, easy. I know I'm going long. I know.
Welcome to OpenTX.
30,000 kV 802s is where we're going first here. On the Walksnail 75mm rig, I just noticed that it has 1,000,000 degrees of up tilt. So let me fix that real quick here. Okay. We want these to be nice and low in terms of up tilt since we're flying them inside the house. And I'm going to do the same on the other one. I'm going to try to make the up tilt as low as possible so that these both hopefully have the same low up tilt. Up tilt will drastically change the way that you fly a rig, and it'll drastically change the way that the rig flies. So you got to be careful with that if you're going to be testing stuff. There we go. We've got Walksnail. In a second, we will have video. I'm going to try to go right upstairs with these. And this will probably encourage Teddy. No, well, I don't know. If you guys want Teddy, I'll give you Teddy. So if I go upstairs, that'll encourage him to come down here. Got video? Nope. What? Okay, we're back. Here we go. 0802. 30,000 kV motors. Let's go right upstairs. Oh boy, I forgot how heavy these are. Here we go. Big power loops. You really feel it at the bottom of those power loops that this thing is heavy. There's our boy. There he is. What you doing, buddy? No. Stay up there. It was so nice when you were up there. Maggie got a couple new bar stools for us from Target today. And I can't fly through them. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh god, no, there's a toy. Teddy, look out. Are you kidding me? Oh, Maggie, I'm sorry. Maggie's doing, like, important work. And I'm here flying a goddamn toy helicopter. Thank you! Alright. Upstairs time. Oh, God! Ooh, battery is low already. So, these are the 80230s. Nothing wrong with these motors. This is another, like, custom, you know, combination motor that I've done. With the Bell and stator swap situation. Oh, see, like down at the bottom when it has a bunch of downward momentum, that's where you really feel the lack of power. Oh god, we're gonna die. We're all gonna die. There's that little boy. Look out, buddy. Watch that beautiful little beard. Look at your little sweater. Look how handsome you are. Look at the handsome boy. Look at him. Oh god. Oh! When he chooses to go after it is very interesting. Sometimes he doesn't. Easy, easy. Watch that beard. Oh god. What's up, little boy? How are you feeling today, Teddy? Are you good? I hope you're good. We're running this battery a little bit low, but with these Walksnail rigs, I tend to just run them until I see it start to brown out. It browns out at a pretty high voltage, so if you come in and land when it's starting to brown out at full throttle, usually the battery will like bounce back to 3.8, so it's kind of perfect. We are really getting there though. But man, it is. Let's bring it in. It's showing me 3.3. That's a little low. What's it gonna bounce back to? 357, 358, 3. Oh yeah, we over discharged this. 359. Man, these 350s are way better about letting you run them down a little bit lower without them browning the VTX out. All right, so now we're going to go directly over to the 33,000s, and I'm going to try really hard to not crash this upstairs because these little 1.5 millimeter motor shafts are not going to live very long with abuse upstairs on that carpet from like 20-foot drops. So hopefully I don't ruin these Amoptera motor bells right now, but if I do, you know, is what it is, I guess. I gotta fix this OSD. Teddy is hot on my heels. I can already feel the difference, man. There is a serious difference in response time between these two, between 30,000 and 33,000 kV. Oh boy, I'm under the couch, really? There we go. I had some weird flickering in the video just now. That was kind of strange. So, I mean, there is still this big moment at the bottom of dives where it struggles. That is me, you know, that's me having kind of unrealistic expectations. I don't think we're ever going to get a motor that on a 75 is as responsive and good inside the house as see how it just like softly lands. This is the best it's ever been though on a 75 mil rig, and just this response time, like the quickness that I get on the sticks is better than anything I've ever flown on these 75 rigs, including the 75 Pro. On one of these streams, I'm going to fly back-to-back these 802 33,000s on 1.6 inch props, and then the 75 Pro on 1002s with the 45 millimeter props, and that'll be really cool. These are not big crashes, so I should still be okay here. Teddy's waiting for me. Oh boy, almost hit him. No real reason to disarm. Look out, buddy. Come on. Look out, buddy. Back up. There you go. Do your little steps. Uh-oh. Careful of that beard, buddy. Careful! You don't want that beard to get jammed up in these propellers. Ah! The little 2-foot. Look at those little pads. Teddy in HD. Mirror flip and Teddy in HD. Mirror flip! That wasn't a very good mirror flip. Oh, that was a pretty good one. Now, the mirror flip is an interesting exercise in response time. I'm going to do a blip and see how it goes off the top. Like, if I sit it down here at the bottom of the mirror and I do a throttle blip, the same throttle blip that I do a million times, it goes off the top. It covers the whole mirror. This is not a super fair test, but I'm going to take this same battery and I'm going to put it in the 30,000 kV rig, and we're going to see how much of the mirror it jumps up. Know what I'm saying? I bet you it doesn't go off the top of the mirror like that. Again, the deck is stacked against it because I took the same battery off. I should do this with fresh batteries, but just real quick. I want to actually fly. I don't want to just do tests on the next two batteries. Let's just take a quick look. I'll limp it over as quick as possible. We will. Oh my god, it didn't even get half the way up, but this battery is really on its way out. But yeah, there's a perfect example of the difference in response time. That's what I'm feeling. Like when I stab the throttle on the 0802 30,000 kVs, it feels like a sharp explosion of thrust. On every other motor that I've ever run on this 75 mil Walksnail build, it feels flat and like fat and saggy and just ugh. So that is what I'm feeling on these 33,000 kV motors that has me so excited. I'm feeling the response time that I want to feel from any rig that I fly. Magic, man. Another battery on the 33,000 kV rig. Ready for a big surprise. Oh, a big surprise. There he is. There's your big surprise. Ah, look at him flexing his little fingers. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Ah, missed it. Oh, God. Uh-oh. Shot glass down. Didn't break, though. It's fine. Everything's fine. Ooh, Teddy was right there. Senor Spaghetti was right there. What you doing, buddy? Ah, I didn't make it into the cube. Still feels heavy. But it's carrying around Walksnail, for God's sakes. Like, this is a fully HD rig. Like, that's absurd that it's even remotely this good. Hold on. Let me see if I have race mode on here. I don't think I do. Because I would have seen it in the settings, but where would it be? Frame rate? Nope. What? Get out of there. Resolution? Nope. Bitrate? No, wouldn't be there. Broadcast? No, wouldn't be there. Camera? No. Display? That wouldn't make much sense. I don't think I have it. I don't... I think I actually remember not putting these on the absolute newest firmware. I think I put them on, like, one version before. Oh! He had a little stand-up. He was standing up on his little rear legs there. Where do you think you're going? Where are you going? Where are you going, little boy? I hear him running. Where'd he go? Oh, he heard Mama come out. Hello, little boy. Oh God, failsafe. Wow. That was weird. It was like, it was in failsafe for the full. Oh wow, I've got no RC link right now. I have no transmitter link. What the hell just happened? Oh, my transmitter went dead. My transmitter battery is dead. Oh yeah, it is. 4.4 volts. Okay. That's not going well. Let me go get it. Hold on. Best dog, man. Best dog. I don't have another transmitter battery that's charged. So that's going to be the end of the live stream. Yeah, shit. I've got dead transmitter batteries all over the damn place. Well, all right. Oh, you can't share with the high frame rate, Matty ORC says. That's a shame. All right, well, we flew a couple of batteries. Yeah, there's a huge difference between 30,000 and 33,000. So I'm gonna do the bell swap and 0802 33,000 kV. That's gonna be the motor for me when it comes to this particular build here. This is still at 3.9, so I'm gonna leave it. Cool. Thanks for hanging, friends. Hope you learned something. If not, hope you had a good time. If not, sucks to be you. Be good. I'll see you tomorrow night, 10 o'clock. I'm going to go have some fun with my favorite person on Earth. Peace be with you. I don't know what else to say. Go get involved in the drama. Don't get involved in the drama. Thanks for hanging, people. Hold on, let me get I still got a little bit of video left from this. Let's see if the new outro works. Ready? It should just work. Let's see. See you guys tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern. Bye-bye! Please work.